with us in London now. Alive, but terminated. It will take some time and most probably lifetime to come to terms with such a loss. Loss that is buried in an event filled with unbelief, horror. It's happened. It is very sad memory that will be stay with for us forever. No home need hope to move on, and whether else can be have in other than in company of this extended family in London, and whether he can visit grave in his mother and brother. It is last one can do for no home at this moment. For us, the extended family, brother and sister, we live with while supporting each other to be a peace ourselves and with wider community we belong to. Otherwise, we will not be able to support and encourage our children who have directly to indirectly been affected by tragedy. Sorry, my pronunciation. Tragedy. We are learning to appreciate those small things we normally ignore in our everyday life and be grateful. Those small things like smile, happy face, and thank you from someone you never met. Maybe this is what we have learned after sister and nephew die in Grenfell fire. Let's us hope.
Just take your time, there's no rush.
Let's us hope it won't happen to anyone again. Memories our sister Brixty and our nephew Brooke. And as day and night, we will try not to cry again. We will try not to cry again. But we will cry with love. We are sure they don't want us to suffer and go through the horrible pain again and again. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Why I'm here. The last few years were the most difficult in my life. I felt hopeless and lonely. I was born in Eritrea from my mom, Brookie, and my dad, Tesfai. My mom left me with my grandma when I was 2 years old. The good thing is, I never felt bad when I was growing up with my grandma. With my mom, we were communicating only by phone. She used to call me at least twice a week. No one could imagine how happy I was when I heard her voice. She had such a nice voice. But the fire Grenfell Tower take all these things. She was the only person who paid for my monthly school. Also, I had a present in each year from her. But when my grandmom died in 2016, that everything changed. She was really worried about me because I couldn't cope on my own. Since the time, she kept calling me and she kept promising me by saying, "You'll be soon with me." When I remember her voice, when I remember her promise, you can't even imagine how I feel. I was looking for words to live with my mom and with my little brother. But the fire Grenfell Tower on June 4 in 2007 changed everything again. I didn't see my mom for 15 years.
Just take a nice deep breath. There's no rush. Are you fasting at the moment?
No,
Do you want some water?
it's fine.
Sure?
That's just the only thing that I want was to be realized. It all came in crashing. I don't understand. You can't even understand how I feel. I thought I was dreaming when they told me that your mom died by a fire and your brother died by a fire. But it was real. But it was actually real. I know bad things to happen to people, but to lose your mom and your brother, and this kind of tragedy is the worst thing that can happen to anyone. The only person who can understand is the one who lost their mother and their brother in similar situation. I didn't even have a chance to say goodbye. What makes me feel hopeless is I will never ever see my mom again and my brother. Thank you.
I think you would have made her very proud there. thought I could see you taking over somewhere, David.
Negeste, Salam, Nahum, Asiema. It's an honor to read this on your behalf, in memory of Barikti and in memory of Buruk. Our sister, Barikti, was 29 years old when she lost her life at Grenfell Tower on the morning of the 14th of June, 2017. She was 10 weeks pregnant. Her son, our nephew, Buruk, was only 12 years old. Buruk died with his mum. We have no doubt that our sister would have been holding and hugging him to the last, protecting and comforting her little boy, despite knowing that there was no hope for them inside that tower. Buruk entered this world greeted by love, the love of his mother's face. And we are sure he left this world looking at the love of that same beautiful face. These thoughts sustain us in our darkest hours. There are no words that can describe our loss, and being here today is not easy for our family. It is not easy to give a snapshot of the lives of two beautiful people just using words and images. As a family, we will try our best to let you see a little of Barikti and Buruk's life and try to pay respect to their lives cut short. Barikti was born in Eritrea, and she was one of 11 children. The early years in Eritrea and in Ethiopia were very difficult as we moved between both countries in search of safety. Eritrea was struggling with war all around, and our mother kept moving us between Eritrea and Ethiopia for our safety. As a result of the war and our family having to move to many different places, our sister never really had the opportunities in education that children have now. What she lost out in education was replaced by an abundance of love in our family and our household. We all had a happy childhood, despite the chaos of the world which surrounded us. Barikti had to grow up fast. She gave birth to her lovely son, Nahum, when she was young. She learned swiftly to become a mother, and like any good mother, she loved her baby son with all her heart and all her soul. She never complained. As conditions in Eritrea and in Ethiopia deteriorated, our family started to disperse and flee across the world, seeking protection, security, and safety. Barikti was a young woman, and to flee with her young son would have been too dangerous for the child. She therefore had to make a heartbreaking decision that it was safer to leave her 2-year-old son with her mother in Ethiopia. She hurriedly fled the country in fear of her life and the risk of violations against young girls in that region at that time. Barikti sought refuge here in the United Kingdom around 2004. This country was kind and generous and respecting of human rights. It gave our sister refugee protection, and she was safe from the horrors back home. We were fortunate as a family that we were all together and that we were given protection in Britain. All the sisters were together now. Negeste, Salam, Asiema, and Berikti. As we had been before in London, we were again a close and loving family. We would support and help each other at all times. When Berikti first came to the United Kingdom, she initially settled in Kilburn. She then moved to Wood Green. She later gave birth to our darling nephew, Buruk. Berikti and Buruk received help from a lovely Ethiopian family who helped look after them both in the Wood Green area. Around 2007 and 2008, our sister was lucky to find a flat at Grenfell Tower. She was so happy to have a home of her own for herself and young Buruk. They were both very happy in their flat, and it was a place that was full of love and the laughter which a small baby boy brings to any family. Buruk started attending the nursery school next to Grenfell Tower. It was the Grenfell Nursery at the Ilias Booker Centre in Clarendon Walk. Buruk was loved by everyone there. He was a smiling and happy little boy, so full of energy and running everywhere. Our sister, Berikti, had a strong and mature work ethic. She was happy and willing to do whatever job she could find. She worked as a cleaner. She worked as a caterer. She worked in coffee shops. And she worked as a sales assistant in various shops. Our sister worked hard to be able to support and give everything to her boys. She wanted Buruk to have everything that she could not have when she was growing up in Eritrea and Ethiopia. In December 2015, Berikti secured a catering position working at King's College Hospital in London. She was so happy there, and she made many friends. She was really proud to be working and helping in the NHS, as she was such a caring person. Everything that she did for her boys. For Buruk in London and for Nahom in Ethiopia. She had been robbed of an education as a young child, and for her, the priority was the education of her sons and a life of learning to enrich their lives. Berikti spoke to Nahom as any mother does her son. She always made sure that he had done his homework and that he was doing well at school. She made it known to him that she loved him. Our sister always put her family first. Both of her sons were the apple of her eye, and she was proud that they were both doing well for themselves in their respective schools. At the time of the tragic fire, Berikti was 10 weeks pregnant. Buruk was so happy that his mother was going to have a baby. When Buruk was a baby, he never cried. He was a really happy little boy. We remember that when we would leave him down, he would never move or scream. As he grew up, he became happy, playing with his Lego cars. They were thrown all around the floor in their flat in Grenfell Tower. We would trip on them. There were so many cars everywhere. Buruk was a very happy and contented little child. He was kind and he was sensitive. We all, as sisters, remember collecting him from his nursery. And when we would arrive, he would call us mummy, even though he knew we were his aunts. He always greeted us with a smile and a hug. He had so much love in his heart. He had empathy for other people, which was reflected when his aunt in the United States fell sick and we saw him crying, even though he was such a young age. He joined us by praying for her to get well. He was a little boy who was wise beyond his small years. When his grandmother died in 2016, he cried, as he understood that we had all lost our mother. He was such a thoughtful and loving boy. Birik worried about his brother Nahum being left alone in Ethiopia. Birik asked his mother if his brother could come and live with him. Berikti started to arrange the immigration papers to bring her son to the United Kingdom, but the fire took away the possibility of the family ever being fully reunited. Birik was football crazy. He was a big Chelsea fan, and his favourite player was Eden Hazard. He wished to play football like Eden Hazard, and he played as a striker when he played underneath the Westway, close to Grenfell Tower. He had many friends around him. He was also close to his cousins Simon, Michael, and Hanem, and they spent most weekends together. As with all 12-year-old boys, Birik loved his music and he loved his sport. He was very British. He really did not like traditional Eritrean food, and he always rejected it at family gatherings. We would all laugh because he just loved chicken and chips. A few weeks before the fire, at the end of April 2017, Birik celebrated his 12th birthday. He had a big party. His mother had done everything to make the party a special day for her little boy. It was a moment of joy and happiness, surrounded by friends and family. Birik was beaming, and he got so many presents. It is a cherished memory for our family. Birik told us that when he grew up, he wanted to be a pilot or a scientist or a footballer, and he really loved studying biology. We have no doubt he would have achieved any of those careers, as he was so bright and he was so clever. Our sister Berikti was a brilliant mum. She gave so much love to her sons. Birik loved her, Nahum loved her, and she loved them in return. We, the sisters of Berikti Haftum and aunts of Birik Haftum, will never be able to fill the void that is left in our hearts following the tragedy of Grenfell Tower. Every day we think of our sister and our nephew. The fire took everything they had and all that they owned. However, the fire did not take away the happy memories of our beloved sister and our little nephew. The Grenfell Tower disaster did not take away our deep love for them both.
I don't know how to start. When I said Brooke, my son, I don't know how to show him my feeling. Brooke is my baby. My sister Brooke. Brooke, he told me when London Bridge, the knife attack, we was in, we finished from church, and he told me, Salam, let's go by walk. I'm not going by bus. I told him, why, bro? Why? Salam, it's safety when we go by bus, by walk. I said, let's go, look, I'm so tired, please. And he told me, no, Salam, let's go. Salam, make sure next time, this time I don't know what happened, 2017. Salam, I know you are really, really worried about us, but make sure anything happen, we have to contact by call. And whatever we are, we have to run away. Salam, to check for me, just call me. Baruch, when I call him, he told me, don't worry, Salam, just call me. We have to run away. I said, Baruch, why say this? I don't know, I'm scared. But in fire time, I called him, Baruch, phone was off. But he told me, don't worry. I was expecting him, I'm going to find him because he told me, don't worry. Everywhere, Baruch. I don't believe to say Baruch. Still I'm dreaming, Baruch. My sister Baruch, she's very helpful. I left my daughter with her when I go to see my family in Ethiopia. She's there because she is living in Latimer and I'm living in Lava Grove. My sister Baruch, she's so sweet.
I think it might be quite a good idea to have a seat, actually.
I don't know, Brooke.
Seriously, I think you should take a seat. I'm a little bit worried. David, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring it to a close. If there's something else that needs to be said a bit later on, we can come back. But as far as this is concerned, I'll just bring this part to a close, all right? Now, the last thing as part of this presentation is that there's a video, and I think we'll watch that. Thank you.
My brother Burke is a lovely boy. He is very sweet and handsome. He used to look after me when I was a little girl. If I am sad, he will always try to make me laugh, and he will also give me a very big hug. I enjoy lots of things with Brooke, going to the cinema, park, trampolining and church. Every Thursday, he used to come to my house to help me with my work. My mom brought tickets to go to Italy for her, Brooke and I. We were all excited, but the fire took the excitement away from us. I was very happy, but my happiness has gone because the tragedy of Grenfell Tower. I miss him so much. I still don't know what to do without him. I don't believe that this is true. My Auntie Brooke is a lovely lady. She looks after me when my mom goes away each year to take care of my grandmother. My Auntie Brooke always takes care of me. She takes me to my favorite park, St. Mark's Park, and took me to the farm fair. She takes good care of me until my mom comes back. When I am sad, she makes me smile. You're such a sweet woman. I miss her lovely smile. She buys me everything I want. She doesn't mind about the price. I always pray to God to protect them. Bless you.
I hear your voice every day. I don't know where to start. Brooke, I hear your voice every day, and I turn to see your face where you are not there. So I quietly call your name. You have always looked after me since I was a child. Brooke, you have inspired me in every way to love so many things. You taught me how to play PlayStation, and we always used to make each other lose and have a silly fight. We rode our bikes, we had good laughs, and most important of all, we had fun. Do you remember when you came to my house and showed me a video clip by Wiz Khalifa, See You Again, FT Charlie Puth? Now, when I watch that video, it's like you knew you were going to go away. Since you have left, every Sunday I don't go to church. Every Saturdays I don't go to tutors because I knew you weren't going to be there. It always reminds me when it was break time in tutors, as we used to share our food. Saturday mornings when I played football, I always thought you were waiting for me to pass the ball to you. All this beautiful stuff we've had done together kills me every day. I have known you since I was born. I know you are a great secret keeper. So, let me tell you a secret, but keep it to yourself. I wish I was with you that night, but don't tell my mum. I will never forget you, and you are one of a kind of a brother I've ever had. I thank God he made you my brother. Auntie Brooke, you have always loved and cared for me. Every time I felt sad, you would come and cheer me up. Even if I did not do well in anything, you would say, well done. Every time I did something wrong, you would tell me not to do it, politely. Remember the time I was lost in Westfield Shopping Centre? You and Brooke went everywhere to find me. You cried your heart out for me. You even called security to find me. For that, I know I really mean something to you. We all had good times going to the park, cinema, swimming, and celebrating everyone's birthday. When I slept at your place, you used to give Brooke and I baths and delicious dinners. You may have died, but you didn't go alone. One part of me went with you, but I know we will reunite someday in a better place. You will always stay in my heart. Rest in peace, Simon.
Thank you for everyone and you give this opportunity for us. Thank you, Joanna. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Salam, for everyone. And what I want is we are support as a family. We need justice. We are here. Those we left our family. So please, these things, I hope it never be happen again. Thank you.
And thank you all very much for coming to give that commemoration. Very moving. Thank you. Yes, Mr. Richard.
The next commemoration will be for Sakina Afrasabi, and it's from her daughter Shiva Aglani. Is she going up there? Eva, what's your last name? Sir Shiva's found it too overwhelming to come today and has asked her solicitor Eva Whittle if she'll read her statement.
Are you going to read for us? Thank you very much indeed. Yes.
My name is Shiva Aglani. I am the oldest daughter of Sakini Afrasabi. I have 4 other brothers and sisters. My mother lived on the 18th floor, but on the night of the fire, she managed to get upstairs to the 23rd floor because she believed that help was coming from above to rescue her and my aunt Fatima, her sister. My mother and my aunt were always together. They were very close. They enjoyed each other's company. My mother had bought a special chair that she put in front of the big windows at Grenfell Tower, where she and her sister would sit and talk and watch the amazing views of London from up there. They would chat and eat snacks, and she said it was better than any TV show. I'm glad that my mother at least did not die alone, but it terrifies me every time I think about how scared my mother and her sister must have been. I know that if I had not been in hospital myself, I probably would have been with them on that warm June night. I spent most of my time with my lovely mother. She was kind and softly spoken, more quiet than her lively younger sister. She was the only one that ever really understood me. I am vulnerable, and I don't have many real friends. I am not close to my family. My mother knew how to look after me, and even though she was disabled herself, we, between us, managed our lives. We were each a piece of the missing jigsaw to the other. I would come and visit my mother in the tower, and it felt good to be part of the community, to say hello, and people knowing I was Sakina's daughter. My mother was well liked. She would cook Persian food and share it with her neighbours. She loved the children on her floor and always gave them sweets. One of her neighbours told me at her funeral that she never complained when his children would knock on a door as a game and run and hide. She would open the door and greet the kids, and when the parents apologised, she would say, "Don't worry, they're just kids." She was everyone's grandma. I have lost her. I have lost my only friend and protector. I have lost a place to go to be safe. I am lost. The thing is, losing a mother is hard enough. Losing a mother in these circumstances is horrific. But losing a mother who was your only shield from the world is something else, because that is what she was. With my problems and issues, my mother was my anchor, my protector, my only true friend. My mother liked to sing, she laughed at my jokes, she made excuses for my behaviour, and she always stood up to anyone who criticised me. She made me feel secure and safe, and she loved me unconditionally. I knew I always had somewhere to go when I was lonely. Now I'm always lonely. In the first few days after the fire, I used to just walk around the tower perimeter and wail and cry. Now I go to the cemetery. I put some plastic flowers on her grave and a lamp to light her way. We buried a tooth and a small piece of her jawbone. That is all they found of my mother. Why did they let everyone burn so we did not have bodies to bury? I have so many questions. I want to know why they didn't rescue them. Everyone thinks I don't understand anything. They ignore me, but I understand this much. There was a terrible fire, and no one came for them. They were left to burn to ashes. Now all I have is my memories. My mother's cooking, her warmth and kindly smiles. She understood me, the only person in my life that loved me unconditionally, and the only person that will probably ever love me that way. She is gone, and I have no one. I am very, very lonely, and I am invisible. God rest your soul, my dear mother. May God grant you peace. I wish I could have been there that night. I would have saved you and your sister, my aunt. I would have helped you down the stairs. I would not have left your side, just as you never left mine. I miss you. I will always love you, unconditionally.
Thank you very much.
So I'm still awaiting some news on the next one, so can we...
Would you like to rise from
No, I think if in fact Masood Shahabedin is ready, then we could actually proceed to the commemoration for Hamid Kani. No, it looks like I would like a break, please.
Yes.
My fault. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
So this is the commemoration for Hamid Khani from flat 154, forgive me. Marcia is with us again, and I think Marcia is going to introduce us to everybody who's on stage.
On stage we have Hamid's cousins, Amir, Masood Shahabuddin and his wife Elaine, and the supporter, Nakay. And Masood is going to read.
You're very welcome.
Thank you
very much.
So, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Hamid Khani was 61 years old when he lost his life in Grenfell Tower. However, he will not be remembered for the way he died, though tragic and premature, but for the man he was and the way he lived. He was born and brought up in Tehran, Iran, the youngest of 4 children. He was the baby of the family and the cheekiest. He was adored by his mom and his 2 sisters especially, as he was able to twist them round his little finger. His dad was a shopkeeper, and as cousins growing up, I remember the times when his dad would have to go and buy stock for the business, leaving Hamid and myself to look after the shop. Hamid always seemed to trick me into doing all the work whilst he played around with his friends. He was always so sociable, extrovert, and very, very funny. Hamid will always be remembered for the enduring humor, so sharp, so witty, for his warmth, his smile, his love of family, and his compassion for others. Hamid and I came to England in the late 70s to study. For a brief time we shared a flat in London, and he helped me get on my feet. He had a love of the arts, especially acting and music. He loved to cook and fell in love with London and its people. He loved to make people laugh. In the early 1980s, he had a major role in a couple of comedy plays, which were critical satires of the regime in Iran. The videos of these plays became very popular in Iran, and as a result, he was blacklisted by the Iranian government and could not return to his home country for a number of years. When his father passed away and he was unable to return to attend his funeral, he was distraught, and he ended his acting career. Following this, he changed his life path and pursued his love of cooking. He became a skilled chef and worked for many years in restaurants in London, his adopted home. He moved into Grenfell Tower and spent 22 happy years as a part of a community. He was a happy and very easygoing man. He hated to see people upset. He always said everything's going to be all right at the end, and if it's not all right yet, it's because it's not the end. Another of his favorite saying was, "Oh, it's only hard for the first 100 years, then it's easy peasy." Hamid was a beloved son, a brother, uncle, cousin, and friend. He was adored for his commitment to his family, especially his mom and sisters, nieces, and nephews. He was the best man at my wedding in Lancashire, where I live, another city he visited frequently over the years. However, he mostly looked forward to his annual visit to Tehran. In fact, he had a ticket and was due to go back on the 24th of June, 2017, a trip he never got to make. It was there that he spent much special times with the people he loved, the ones who so miss him the most. He will never be forgotten. Apart from myself and my family and my brother, all of Hamid families live in Iran. Sir, the hardest things of all was to try to explain and make sense of what happened to his family, to his siblings on the 14th of June 2017. The days, weeks, months that followed have just been incredibly difficult, so we have no answers. We have questions, but no answers. Taking Hamid's remains to Iran to be buried helped me give some closure and comfort. However, as a family, as a community, we need to understand, we need to have explained what happened. As a nation, we need to learn from this tragedy and prevent it ever happening again. Hamid lived to love and loved to live. He would have been especially proud that out of the tragedy of Grenfell Tower, there has been an outpouring of love, togetherness, and support across the nationalities, religions, regardless of differences, class, or culture. I hope and pray that this will be the legacy of all the lost souls from Grenfell Tower. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. An excellent tribute. Thank you.
So we have a very large group of people about to join us on the stage, so 5 minutes if you would.
Yes,
maybe
very
less, actually. Thank you very much.
Well, take what time you need for it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Richmond.
Thank you, sir. We're now going to turn to commemorations for Mohammed Al Ali from flat 112. Before we commence, can I say that at the start of the day, it was clear that we needed somebody with a particular understanding of a particular branch of Arabic.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful to Mr. Neri from our inquiry team for his hard work, and ultimately to Iman, who is a counsellor from Hestia, who has agreed to help with communication today, and the effect of that has been to enable one of our participants to be able to communicate and play his part. So I'm very grateful to all of them.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. That's important. Thank you.
So, I think Hashem is going to start, is that right? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So, tell us first of all who you are.
I'm Hashim Al Ali, the brother of Muhammad Al Ali. And here is my father Nidal, my mom Hiyam, our lawyer Jules, Mahmoud, Muhammad's best friend, my sister Kinda, Amal, Muhammad's fiancée, my brother Umar, and my sister Sham.
I think we're going to have videos and a statement, and then I'm going to speak to Nadal.
That's
but would
right.
you like to just introduce the videos to us?
So my family and I, we've come here today to remember my brother Muhammad, to remember how beautiful and amazing he was, and we've shown some videos of the family talking about him. It's been extremely hard to talk about him, so we tried our best to remember him, remember the good memories we've had with him. So we've made these videos for him because it's extremely hard to speak about him in front of everyone. We haven't even had the time to sit together and speak about him as a family, so it's extremely hard for us. So we didn't even talk about the night. We just spoke about Muhammad as a person, how amazing he was, and how the whole world have lost an amazing person.
Well, thank you for doing them for us, and shall we watch them now?
Yes.
We went through a lot together. We grew up in Dar'a, south of Syria. It's a small city. We grew up together as we are very similar age. He's just 1 year younger than me. We used to be like not only brothers, like best friends. We just were going out together, sharing things together. We were telling each other about everything. Sometimes, you don't find really someone to tell him everything, but I had my brother where I used to tell him everything, He had lots of friends. He was a very welcoming person, like he loved his friends. When I went to his university, he would introduce all the students to me. He used to know everyone at the university because everyone loved him. He has very strong personality and a leader personality.
He loved it so much to talk to people, meet people, sit with people every time, have lots of friends around. I can always remember him when he would call my mom. So he although he was very young at that time, when I remember him calling my mom, he would call her like Hajja. This is like a very, very respectful way. So usually older people would say it to their moms when their moms become older, but he would say it for my mom when he was very young, because he loved to be mature, and to act like them. So he would always call her in a very nice way.
When he was young, he used to love to wear suits. Like he was very young, and you see my father wearing suits, so he wanted to do the same. Like he was very young, and he was wearing sometimes my father's suits, and it was very big on him, but he loved it. You can see he's very, very much older than his age. Yeah, the way he thinks, the way he just deal with things actually.
I would love to be like Mohammed, actually, like someone who's so sociable in the community. I want to work a lot, I want to study a lot, like just to show him that like I'm gonna be like the best person in the life, like what you want. I'm gonna be like what you want.
هو ترك فراغ كبير لنا. طبعا أنا لما سمعت يعني بالخبر عنه كانت بالنسبة لي صدمة كبيرة، لأنه كانت ضحكته ما تفارقني. كلمته لما يقول لي ألو حجة شو بدك؟ بدك شيء، عاوزة شيء، يعني كان كل شيء فيه مميز. تحسي إنه شخصية مو من هالشباب أو هالجيل اللي إنه هو عديم مسؤولية أو شيء. تحسي كل شيء كان فيه شيء مميز. هو الله يرحمه كان ترك فراغ كبير بالنسبة لنا.
As much as I talk about him, I wouldn't be able to justify him and how amazing he was. He was full of joy. He loved life, and he would help anyone in the family.
He had a big dream to bring all our families together and sit in one place and have a good life. He was always dreaming about doing things.
I want all the people to see Mohammed, to see how was Mohammed, everything about Mohammed, because he was someone like you're not gonna find in the life another one like him.
I'm Mohammed's sister. I'm younger than him 2 years. He always tell me about London. It is nice, but he always said the weather it's too cold. Yeah. He always spoke with us every day. Sometimes I'm busy because I have many things to do in Syria. He sent me and why you didn't speak with me? Why you didn't ask about me? I am your brother and I am in London. Ask about me. He was a great person and he was fantastic, my brother. Yeah. I can't remember anything bad from him. Yeah, because always when he was in Syria and here as well, always he made everything good for my family and for everyone.
The first time I saw him, he was wearing all black because that was our uniform. He just had such a huge smile and he looked so happy. He just brought so much life to the workplace. He made me feel like I want to go to work today because I want to see him because we have so much fun at work. I mean, of course he was very good looking, but that wasn't the main attraction. It was his personality, just the way he carried himself. I don't know the right word, but he just had this thing when he walks into the room, you feel like Mohammed is here, you know? Especially because he's so tall and he's quite built.
Big Ben, sad Big Ben. Grenfell Eye.
He liked his life here. He enjoyed it. And he would tell me, I am grateful for being here. I'm safe. But Syria was his home. He missed it so much. He missed his friends. He missed his parents, his sisters. There were times where, he would, his heart would be in pieces about his family. And it made me feel really sad. He was a huge part of my life. We would speak like every day on the phone. Like he knew everything that was going on in my life. He was always there, and I knew everything about him, and I fully trusted him. He taught me to love myself. He made me feel like I can do things in my life, I can accomplish things. Whenever I feel down or whenever I feel like I can't do this thing or I can't accomplish something, I always think about him, and I feel like if he was here today, he would tell me, you know, yeah, you can do it, you can do so many things. Like, I miss that a lot, but it still keeps me going. We had a lot of plans for our future. We were sort of waiting to make everything official because he was traditional in terms of marriage. So for him, it was like, you're a nice girl and I want my family involved, you know, I would like to marry you. I felt respected by him, and I felt like our relationship was very pure. The last time we spoke was on the 13th of June, so the night before the fire. We were on the same bus, and I get off before him, and he carries on, so I got off the bus and we were talking on the phone. Even I'm just walking like 2 minutes to my house, he has to make sure like I get home safe. He'll be like, are you inside now? So I'm like, yes, I am. Every day it's like this. Just when he got home, like just past 12, he messaged me and said, hey, are you sleeping? He was like, I'm home now. And that was the last time I heard from him. It's really, really hard without him. Like, even until today, it doesn't feel like real that he's not here. Life doesn't taste the same anymore without him here. Right now, when I think about my future, I don't really see anything.
Now, I think...
Thank you very much. That was a beautiful film. Thank you.
Mahmoud Al Kharid, I think, is going to make a statement now.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mahmoud Al Kharid. I'm Omar and Mohammed friend. We used to live together. So first of all, I felt once very sad before the fire. It was when I've been forced to leave my country. Second thing, when Mohammed passed away, I'm still, very sad, and it's not like when I left my country. It's like, it's very sad for me. Mohammed was like a brother to me. We grew up together in Daraa, which is a city in southwestern Syria. I first met him when I was in primary school at the age of 11. Even at that young age, I could see that he was special, one of a kind. He was a very compassionate person who cared about people. He was a perfectionist. Everything that he did, he excelled. He had only been in the UK for 3 years, and already he had his UK driving license. He was working and he was studying engineering at university. He had big hopes for the future. He wanted to build his life in the UK, to bring his family, become an engineer, marry and have children. He was a family man. He was dedicated to his parents and his brothers and sisters. After he moved to the UK in 2014, he used to call them every day, telling them that he missed them and that he wished to reunite with them in the UK. They are all here now, but he's not. He was a friendly person who was always smiling. He would randomly call me just to check up on me. Whenever I visited my family in the Netherlands, he would call me and ask me about my well-being. He would say, "We miss you. When are you coming back? What are you bringing us this time? Are you bringing magdous?" This is a Syrian food that he loved. He was also a very good cook. The cultural foods that he cooked for us reminded me of home. He was very good-natured. The day before the fire, he took a picture of me while I was sleeping. He sent me the picture on WhatsApp with the message, look how you look when you are sleeping. I still have this picture with me. It was the last picture he took of me. He was a good friend. I spoke to him on the phone while he was in a flat 113 of Grenfell Tower on the night of the fire. He was in there with a mother and her child. The fire was blazing. I told him to get out, that he should leave. His reply shows the kind of man that he was. He said, "How can I leave? How can I leave the child?" He also told me to tell his family that he loves them. He loved them. Even at that very end, he was thinking about his family and well-being of other people. This was Muhammad. I know that he would want what happened on 14th of June 2017 to never happen again. He would not want any other people or any other parent to have to bury their son or their daughter. He cared about people so much that he would want this inquiry to find the truth so it does not happen again. Rest in peace. Thank you very much for everybody.
Now I know that Nidal, who is Mohammed's father, is that right?
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. هذه تحية الإسلام لأنها تخص اسم محمد ابني الذي سميته على اسم سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Peace be upon you. This is the greeting of Islam. And this is very relevant to Muhammad, which is the name that he named his son, that I named my son, which is after the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
موقعه كاسم كان بالنسبة لي بمثابة القلب، لأني سميت ابني الأول عمر وهو على اسم سيدنا عمر الخليفة العادل بالتاريخ الإسلامي، ومحمد نسبة لسيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وبعده ابنتي كندة تمثل قبيلة كندة التي خرجت منها عدة ممالك حكمت الوطن العربي، وبعده ابني هاشم نسبة لنسب سيدنا محمد أي عائلته أو قبيلته بني هاشم.
Just pause there for a second.
وختمتها.
We'd like to know what you have just said to us.
So he was starting off with listing his children, starting from Umar, which is the oldest, and he named him after the just caliphate of Islam. And following that was Muhammad, who he named after the Prophet Muhammad. And after that, he named Kinda after a tribe that has seen a lot of different civilizations. And
هاشم بني هاشم نسب عائلة الرسول.
And he named him after Bani Hashim, which is what the Prophet's tribe was called. And finally,
ثم ابني هاشم ثم ابنتي شام وهي نسبة للشام التي تمثل بلاد الشام التي حكم العالم من خلالها، فجمعت بين من قبيلة كندا إلى الشام التي تمثل تاريخنا العربي.
And finally, Sham, the youngest, and she was called after Damascus, which is Sham. And he named Kinda to Sham, which is two different places in Syria, to combine the Arab world.
فلذلك كان محمد نسبة لسيدنا محمد هو موقعه بالنسبة لي كان هو القلب بكل شيء. وسبحان الله كأن رب العالمين وضع به كل ما أحمله من قيم وتراث وأخلاق سحب مني وأعطي لابن محمد رحمه الله.
So he said Muhammad, who he named after the Prophet, he actually embodied every trait of the Prophet in his mannerisms and everything. And he said that it was such a blessing that all these traits were actually in Muhammad himself, and that's how he sees him.
منذ كان عمره 5 سنوات لن أذكر كل ما كان يمثل أخلاق ابن محمد، لكن سأذكر منه بعض مواقف. كان في رياض الأطفال عمره 5 سنوات، كنت أعطيهم يوميا 5 ليرات يشتري فيها بالمدرسة. محمد كان يشتري بال5 ليرات يوميا 4 قطع من الحلوى، يأتي إلى البيت.
So when Muhammad was young, from at the age of 5, he used to give him pocket money, and that was in Syria 5 liras, which would only buy 4 pieces of candy.
يوزع ال4 قطع على أخوته ال4 ويبقى بدون واحدة.
And he would give all 4 of those lollipops to each one of his siblings, and there are 4 of them, and he wouldn't have any.
يوميا كان يتكرر هذا التصرف.
And he used to do this daily.
كان ملتصقا بالعائلة بكل همومها.
He was attached to the family with all its problems, and
كنت أعنفه دوما إذا اقترب وحمل هموم العائلة أو قصص العائلة، دوما أعده أقول له عيش حياتك، عيش حياتك، ما لك علاقة بجو البيت وبالأسرة وبالأخوتك وبالكل، أنت طفل يعني روح عيش حياتك بكل ما فيها.
And he used to always tell him not to worry about all the family issues, because he used to always take it upon himself. And he used to tell him, you live your life, you're a child, enjoy life, but he would always take it upon himself.
مثلا كانت عندما أتي من عملي من دمشق إلى درعا أتصل بأخت إلي موجودة بدرعا، أتصل فيها تقول لي راح أجي لعندك، بس بدها تيجي مشي في مسافة بحدود 3 كيلومتر. تقول لي لا بدي أجي مشي، أقول لها لا أنا بجيبك. قبل ما أخلص الكلام تبعي يكون ركب السيارة وراح جاب عمته.
So this is a story of when he was going from Damascus, where he worked, to Dar'a, which is the village they used to live in, the city they used to live in. And he was on the phone with his sister, so Mohammed's aunt, and she would say, I'm going to come over. And she doesn't, she doesn't drive, so she was going to come walking. And it was quite a long distance, 3 kilometers. And he would tell her, no, I'm going to come get you. And in this discourse, Mohammed had already gone out and taken the car to go pick her up.
إذا كان يزور عمته ما كان يجلس بغرفة الاستقبال، كان يتم معها في المطبخ، لأنه يقول لها أنا جاي أزورك إلك، ما بيهمني أقعد بغرفة الضيوف، يعني المهم إني أشوفك. ما يجلس مع أخوته مع باقي العائلة يعني بغرفة الجلوس أو الاستقبال.
So when his aunt would come over, he would sit with her in the kitchen and chat with her, and he wouldn't want to go anywhere else, and not, in any other room or with the family. He'd want to stay with her to chat with her.
عائلتنا كبيرة، عندي 11 أخ، فكانوا عندما يزوروني ما يحبوا يكلفوني بالاستقبالهم وبقيام بالواجب تبعهم، فكان محمد بس أطلع فيه يروح لحاله يعمل الواجب ويجيب أكل جاهز مشان ما يحلفوا أيمان إنه ما نعمل لهم الواجب أو الغداء والعشاء وغيره.
So he has a big family and he has 11 siblings. So whenever they would come over, all he has to do is look at Mohammed and he would know what to do. He'd go outside and get ready food for everyone. And without even anyone having to tell him that, he would just do it upon himself.
كان كثير يحاول يتحلى بشخصيتي، ياخذ الملابس الرسمية تبعي، الطقم تبعي ويلبسه ويوقف فيه.
He used to always like to look up to me. And when he was young, he would take his suits and wear them.
تم استمر بحياته إنه يتمثلني بكل سلوك له، حتى بعمله بدراسته بعد ما أخذ الثانوية البكالوريا كان أمامه عدة اختيارات في الجامعة، فأصر إنه ما يختار إلا على طلبي. أنا ما رضيت أحدد له، بدي يختار الشيء اللي بيناسبه. بالنتيجة اختار الهندسة المدنية مشان يستمر بعمله مثل عملي، يعني يستمر بنفس العمل اللي أنا بقوم فيه. وكان يأتي أحيانا من دراسته بالجامعة يأتي لعندي على العمل ويحاول يقوم بمساعدة بعض العمال اللي موجودين في الشغل. أنا بعمل متعاهد بناء، فيحاول يشتغل أي عمل كان مشان يخفف أو يوفر يعني.
So he always looked up to my personality and everything that I did. And when it came to picking a degree for university, he asked him what degree should he do, and he didn't want to specify. He said, you pick whatever you want, whatever suits you best. And he said, no, I want something that you would be proud of. And they went back and forth, and eventually he picked civil engineering, which is the same as his father. And so when he was in university, he would go to his workplace, and he was a contractor, building contractor, and he would try to help him out in his workplace.
وجهت أبنائي ببداية الأزمة بسوريا أن لا يكونوا مع أي طرف كان، وأن يفكروا فقط في دراستهم. ومحمد كان له عدة أصدقاء، وتم فقد أصدقائه واحد وراء الآخر، إما بالشوارع أو بالحوادث أو الحواجز أو إلى آخره. آخر صديق له اسمه مؤنس تم اعتقاله بآخر لحظة عندما علم باعتقاله، فمن كثر الحزن تبعه صابه التهاب كبد.
So when the situation got worse in Syria, he encouraged his children not to take any side and focus on their education. But Muhammad's friends, they died one after the other. And the final one, the close friend that he had, when he found out that he'd been captured, Muhammad got really sick and he got a kidney infection.
بقي 15 يوم بدمشق وهو مريض، وحتى تعافى لأنه التهاب الكبد ما له علاج إلا إنه يأكل حلويات فقط. ما رضيت أخبر أمه في درعا مشان ما ينشغل بالها عليه. بعد ما تعافى اتخذت القرار بسفره يطلع من سوريا.
So sorry, it was a liver infection. And after that, he was sick for 15 days, and his situation got really bad. And that's when his father advised him to leave Syria because of the situation and how bad it got.
وتم تسفيرهم، وكانت مكلفة جدا سفرتهم لنا، وبقي 3 أشهر ونيف هو وأخوه عمر حتى وصلوا لبريطانيا. وكانت هي الأمل بالنسبة لنا أنه هاي بريطانيا العظمى، بيعيشوا فيها بأمان وسلام، ما بيفكروا غير بحياتهم بالدراسية ويحصلوا تحصيلهم العلمي ويرجعوا إلى بلدهم، وهذا كان أملنا الوحيد.
And after they left Syria, it was a very costly endeavor for them. It took over 3 months for them to get to the UK, and for them, the UK was Great Britain. So they were hoping that once they got here, they didn't have to worry about anything, just their well-being and their education.
And we've heard that when he got here, he made a very, very successful life for himself.
سمعوا إنه لما وصل لهون كان كثير متوفق بحياته.
وصل لبريطانيا، عاش بليدز فترة، تم سنة وحوالي يمكن الشهرين حتى أخذوا الإقامة هو وأخوه عمر، وبعدها انتقلوا إلى لندن وعملوا سنة لغة وتابعوا، وبعدين كمل دراسته الهندسة، رغم أنه كان ممكن يختار أفرع أخرى بس استمر على أنه يدرس الهندسة. درس بسوريا للسنة الثالثة هندسة مدنية، رجع تابع هون هندسة مدنية في لندن.
So when he came here, he stayed in Leeds for a while until he got his residency, and then that's when they moved to London. And he did his English education, and after that he went to university to continue with his pursuit in civil engineering, even though he had a choice of many different fields, but he insisted on doing civil engineering.
كان يفتخر بوجوده ببريطانيا وينقل لي يومياً عندما يتكلم معي بوقت فراغه أو بالليل، يحكي معي مش أقل من ساعة للساعة ونص بالتليفون.
He was really proud of being here, and he was always keeping in touch with him, and he would speak to him every day at least an hour or 2 hours on the phone.
وكان لازم يطمن علينا بكل شاردة وبكل واردة، ما يخلي إشي عندنا لازم يعرفه يومياً، يعرف أخبارنا وكيف عايشين.
He always wanted to know about their news and everything that was going on. He wanted to be kept up to date on everything.
وتعلم هون تعلم الطبخ، وصار يطبخ بالبيت ويستقبل أصدقائه كما كان في سوريا. بسوريا كان عندنا في البيت أكثر من 25 كرسي، يسحبهم يحطهم بحديقة البيت ويستقبل كل أصدقائه والجيران ومعارفه ويقعدوا معه، حتى الرجال الكبار. كان اجتماعي، وحتى بنسميها نحن عندنا بنسميه إنه شيخ عربي اللي بيكون بهالأخلاق هاي.
So he came here and he learned to cook, and he would host his friends and everyone like he used to in Syria. In Syria they had 25 chairs, and he would take out all those chairs and bring people over, and even elder people, and he would be very hospitable with them, which was kind of a very good trait seen in the Arab world, someone being very hospitable and treating the guests.
استمر بهذه القيمة بلندن، وأحد الأيام حكى لي من أصدقائه اللي حضروا هون إنه اتصل فيه، قال له نحن صرنا قدام البرج اللي أنت ساكن فيه، قال له اطلع لعندي، قال له لا، في معي عدد كبير يعني من أصدقائي، قال له غير تطلع، قال له معي 13 شخص، قال له لازم تطلع لعندي. بهالأثناء كان هو نزل من البرج وطلع 13 شخص واستضافهم عنده في البيت.
So this trait continued even when he was here, and this is a story of a friend that gave him a call, and he told him that he was there, and Muhammad said, come up, and he said, no, I can't. There's 13 other people with me. And in this exchange, Muhammad had already gone down and to take all of them up, and he hosted them.
وكان مقدام بعمله، أينما حل بعمله أو بدراسته كان متميز، حتى أنه اشتغل بنفس المكان اللي كان يعمل فيه أخوه عمر، سيرفر، اشتغل فيه. بعد شهر من عمله فيه أصبح سوبرفايزر، مسؤول عن العمر.
So he joined the same work that Amr was doing, and he was a server. And then after a couple of months, he was a supervisor. So he was very ambitious.
I wanted to ask you actually, because I know Jules, your solicitor, told me that you'd not had time to prepare a statement, and that therefore maybe I had some questions I wanted to ask as well.
المحامي حكى له إنه ما كان عندك وقت تحضر كثير، فبده يسألك أسئلة.
He sounds like a very charismatic young man.
شكله محمد عنده كثير كاريزما شخصية.
How do you think he would like to be remembered?
كيف تتوقع محمد بده إياه الناس تتذكره؟
محمد أكيد الناس تتذكره بالخير، بشهامته، بكرمه، اللي كان هون يعمل لكل أصدقائه ومعارفه، يعمل لهم جماعات عنده في البيت هو وأخوه عمر، ويقوم بطهي الطعام بإيده كأنه شيف، ويجمع عنده عدد. نحن حتى نستغرب بسوريا أنه محمد اللي ما كان يسوي كاس شاي كيف عم بيطبخ وبيعد الطعام لناس عدد كبير يعني. إيه.
He would like to be remembered as being very kind and hospitable, and how he used to, cook and host a lot, and they used to be really surprised when they would hear that because he wouldn't even make a cup of tea before, but now he's, very hospitable.
And when we think about people that we love, very often we think of a particular time or episode or something that they were doing. When you think about Mohammed, what do you think about him doing?
لما الناس بنحبهم بنفكر فيهم بنتذكر موقف معين. قال شو في موقف لمحمد بتذكره؟
من مواقفه العظيمة لمحمد، أنا حكيت تبع الموبايل. كان طالب جامعة وسمع بالخطأ بجوز بعض الكلام مني ومن أمه، أنا كنت أبعده دوما أنه يسمع همومنا أو حياتنا أو كل ما فيها. عملي ما هو مرتبط بمرتب شهري، دفعات مرتبطة بالعمل. فعم بتحاكيني زوجتي انه بدنا حاجات ثمنها يعني محرز، فقلت لها حتى استلم الدفعه تبعي. هو فهم الكلام انه ما في معنا مصروف بالبيت يعني. فراح ثاني يوم باع الموبايل تبعه وجايب لامه ثمن الموبايل.
So he said that there was a time when Mohammed listened in on a conversation between him and his wife. Yeah. And they were talking about buying valuable things, quite costly things, and then, so he always tried to distance Mohammed from listening to these adult conversations, but he heard it. And because Nidal's work is contractual work, so he said, okay, we'll get them when I get the payment for a certain job. And Mohammed understood this as we don't have money. So he went out and sold his phone. And he came back with the cost of that phone and gave it to his parents, thinking that they didn't have money.
والدليل أكثر إنه الحضور الكبير تبعه، أخذنا مجلس عزاء أكبر صالة موجودة في لندن، أخذناها اللي هي حالياً مركز حلويات محل حلويات باتشا. حالياً كانت صالة كبيرة أخذناها، وكانت تأتينا الناس أعداد هائلة، حتى أتانا ناس ما بنعرفهم بس متعاطفين مع الحدث. من أمريكا إجانا رجل كبير مسن، وجت واحدة من فرنسا، اجت واحدة من ألمانيا، اجوا ناس كثر شاركونا ما بنعرفهم. وكان لحد الآن صرنا 350 يوم من تاريخ الوفاة لحد اليوم، بعدها الناس بتتواصل معنا وبتدعينا لحد اليوم. لحظة شوي. ويوم عملوا التصويت مشان نيجي نحن من سوريا لنحضر الدفن تبعه، التصويت وصل ل 120,000 إنسان اللي صوتوا لحضورنا من سوريا.
So he said for his funeral, Muhammad's funeral, they booked the biggest hall there was. And it was still filled. And it was still really full. And now the hall is a sweet shop. And he said that stuck with him. And also, people came from different parts of the world. There was someone who came from America, someone that came from France, from Germany, and that really sticks with him.
I think that it's clear that he was a well-loved and loving young man.
واضح إنه كان كثير محبوب وبيحب كثير.
جدا.
Very much.
حتى رحت على مركز المحل اللي كان يشتغل فيه أنا وأمه، فتنا بس شافونا عرفوا إنه نحن أهله لمحمد. قبل بيوم من الوفاة تبعه كان في مناسبة لأمه، فهو بده يبعث لها هدية، فبده يشتري لها هدية من المحل، والهدية بيعرفوها زملائه بالمحل، أصروا إلا يعطونا إياها مجانا، وصاروا الكل يبكوا وبدهم يتصوروا معنا لأنه نحن أهله لمحمد.
There was something I didn't translate earlier. And he said when Muhammad passed away, there was a petition to get the family over to the UK to attend the funeral, and he said that 120,000 people signed that petition. And it was people that knew him and didn't know him. And what he said now was that before he passed away by day, Muhammad wanted to buy a gift for his mom where he would work, from where he worked. And when they went to his workplace, they were really happy to see them, and they insisted that they give his mom that thing free. And they wanted to take pictures with them as well, because they loved Muhammad.
We could talk about Mohammed, I suspect, for many hours. But I just wondered if I could ask you this finally. How do you want Mohammed to be remembered?
بس آخر شيء بده يسألك كيف بدك يا محمد يتذكروه الناس.
كيف يتذكروا محمد؟
آخر شيء يعني كيف بدك يعني يتذكروا، وكمان يعني حزنك لفقوده، يعني لو تحكي لنا شوي عن الموضوع اللي حكينا قبل.
محمد التميز تبعه انه كان رجل شهم كريم، يعتبر وجيه، يعني لو اعتبرنا شيخ قبيلة فهو رغم صغر سنه يلبق انه يكون شيخ قبيلة، الله يرحمه.
So Muhammad had a really big personality. He was kind. He could have been the leader of a tribe, even though he was very young at age.
من احترامه كان لأهله يتصل بالعيد بالأعياد، يتصل على عائلتنا. الواتساب بيشتغل عندنا بسوريا، ولكن ما كان يقبل يحكي بالواتساب إلا يحكي مكالمة رسمية، احترام للناس اللي معه.
He used to respect his parents and others as well. And even though on Eid, the celebrations, he could call on WhatsApp, which was available in Syria. It was free, but he would refuse to do that and would make an official phone call out of respect for his parents and people.
بدي أحكي عن سكنه بالبرج، وأكيد رح أحكي باسم كل أهل الضحايا اللي خسروا أبنائهم أو أهلهم أو أخوتهم أو أمهاتهم في البرج.
He wants to speak about the tower, and he speaks on behalf of everyone that has lost a loved one in the tower.
البرج كان يحوي ما بعرف 120 125 شقة.
The tower had from 120 or 125 flats.
البرج لا يملك أي شرط من شروط الأمن والسلامة اللي كنت أنا أعمل فيها في دولة الكويت. هي الكود الإنجليزي اللي كنا نشتغل فيه في دولة الكويت، مطبق بالكامل أكثر مما هو معمول فيه بظل السلطة البريطانية في لندن العاصمة.
So, in terms of safety, the safety regulations, he used to work in Kuwait, and we've mentioned earlier that he's a civil engineer.
I don't want to interrupt you, and I'm not going to stop you saying anything.
Yeah.
All right, but on Monday, this gentleman here, who is my boss, that's my real boss, and that's my next boss, is going to be starting the part of the inquiry which will look at all of those things.
Yeah. So I will continue that statement, but I'm just going to translate that to him.
I'm not.
Oh no, it was relevant to what the ending is going to be. فحكى إنه يوم الاثنين راح يشوفوا التفاصيل تبع القضية وهيك راح يحكوا في التفاصيل. فبدك تكمل بالموضوع هذا ولا؟
لا بدي أحكي بس إنه يعني معقول إنه بريطانيا العظمى تعجز عن إخماد حريق هذا جانب. بعتبره أنا فشل كبير، لأنه هذا المبنى من يوم أنشأ وتم ترميمه وتلبيسه بالمواد الغير كاملة شروط الأمان فيها، والسلطة البريطانية أو الجهات المعنية بتعرف شو المبنى يحتوي. لا سلالم نجاة، لا أجهزة إنذار، لا مواد مانعة للحريق، الأبواب ما كانت تكفي لفترة حماية من الحريق. غير هيك الجرم اللي أنا بعتبره جرم، وهو منع الناس من النزول من البرج لمدة ساعتين. هذا ما حدا قدر يجاوبني عليه. التقينا بقائد شرطة لندن ما جاوبني عليه.
The thing that he wants to focus on is how in Great Britain, it was, the safety wasn't there, basically. So how was it that the building existed with that lack of safety that were guidelines for him, as mentioned earlier, when he worked in Kuwait, was the British guidelines for safety of a building. And another thing he said, which is the criminal thing, was that how people were told to stay for 2 hours. Yeah. And finally.
بقدم رسالة بس.
This is a letter he has written
لابني محمد.
for his son Mohammed.
ابني محمد أبو القاسم، يا من سلكت دروب المجد وكنت علما، تراك الدنيا بشموخك ودماثة خلقك وأثرك العظيم بنفس كل من عرفك. حملت كل ما بنفسي من شموخ وأصالة واعتزاز بعروبتك وإكبارك بأنك ابن حوران بلد الشهامة، ابن غزالة الأبية، وتابعت سيرك لترتقي سدة المجد بعلمك، وبحثت عن مسلك آمن لمتابعة تحصيلك العلمي بدون أي توجهات إلا مرضاة الله ورفعتك، ولم تحمل إلا هويتك الوطنية بكل كبريائها، وأضفيت قيمة لبلدنا بمن عرفك في بريطانيا لتكون من خلالك بلدنا عظيمة بأمثالك وحبك لكل ذرة تراب فيها وحفاظك على كبرياء هذا الوطن، فلم تقف مع أي من حاول تشويه صورة هذا الوطن أو يمزقه عربيا حتى العظم، قوميا شموليا، على درب سيدنا محمد أبو القاسم، من وحد العرب وجمعهم بأخلاقه ولم ينبذ فئة أو ينحاز لفئة. كنت نبراسا يكبر فيك الكبار بأخلاقك، فنعم الخلف يا أبو القاسم. وأحتسبك عند ربي بأعلى العليين، وليبارك ربي بأشقائك الرجال عمر البطل وهاشم، يا سلالة هاشم، وشقيقاتكم كندة السائرة على خطى قبيلة كندة من صدرت الملك لبني عروبتنا، وأختك شام التي حملت عبق الشام من كندة إلى الشام، التي أدارت الكون من الشام. هذا أثري بكم وعزي منكم ومن روح وعبير حوران بلدة غزالة موطن عزي وفخاري، دامت فيكم مآثرنا. يا حملة نصغي أبوكم نضال، ولا أقول إلا ما يرضي ربي ونبي محمد. لله ما أعطى ولله ما أخذ، وإنا لله وإنا إليه لراجعون، ونحن على حكمك يا ربي لمن الصابرين.
So I'm not going to be able to translate all of that word for word, but I just wanted to leave him read it because it was a tribute from beginning to end, and it was about Muhammad, about his character, and about his siblings, and about the family, and how at the end of the day it is God's will, and He created him and He took him back, and He is pleased with God's will. And yeah, that's the very brief summary of the letter.
I was about to say...
We could, probably.
Thank you, sir. Yes. I think the point that the chair's just made, quite rightly, is that if we can get a copy of that letter, we will make sure it's translated and put onto the website with all of the other commemorations, so that we don't lose any of the words or any of the nuances.
Yeah. قالوا إنه لو تعطيهم نسخة من الرسالة بيترجموها بيحطوها على الموقع.
ماشي.
Yes, he said that's fine.
أتحمد ربي إنه الله نجالي ابني عمر اللي كان مع أخوه محمد على أساس ينزلوا سوا من البرج. محمد كان له موقف مأثور ما ذكرته، إنه كان تأخر في البرج، كان يساعد بعض الضحايا بإنقاذهم. واحد كان عم بتسلق وبينزل من النافذة هو وحاطط طفل على ظهره، ما حسن ينزل ولا حسن يطلع، من النافذة. فابني محمد كان يساعده حتى أنقذه. كان أخوه عمر ووصل تحت أنقذ نفسه، وتم فترة بالمشفى لحتى يتعافى من الآثار الدخان وغيره. ومحمد ما حسن ينزل، وكان يتصل فينا ويحكي معنا نحن بسوريا ويستغيث. وأخوه عمر ما سمح له أنه يرجع يطلع يساعد أخوه، كان بده يخاطر بنفسه ويرجع يساعد أخوه، ما سمح له. وهي النقطة موجودة عند أجهزة الإطفاء، أجهزة النجدة، أجهزة الشرطة، كل الجهات المعنية في بريطانيا كلياتها بتتم هي برقبتهم المسؤولية اللي صارت بالبرج على كل أهالي الضحايا.
So he said that he's thankful to God for Umar, who survived. He was with Muhammad in the tower, and they were supposed to go down together, but Muhammad got held back because he wanted to help, other people in the tower, and it was a man that was hanging from outside with his son on his shoulders, and he wanted to help him. So he was calling his family, saying his goodbyes, and Umar, by the time he got down, he wasn't allowed to go back in to help his brother. So he said that this scene he holds as a kind of something, holds the people in charge accountable for what had happened. Yeah.
I was just about, forgive me, it's my fault. I was just about to say, I just wonder whether there is any other particular thing which this gentleman would like to tell us. It's very difficult through an interpreter because we're trying to understand.
سيادة القاضي على سعة صدره واستماع لكلامنا. أنا عارف ما هو إلا شرح عاطفي عن هموم أهالي الضحايا، ما راح يقدم ولا يأخر بمعطيات القضية. القضية برقبة السلطات البريطانية مجتمعة حتى تبان الحقيقة وراء هذه اللي أنا بسميها جريمة. جريمة مسؤول عنها عدة أجهزة.
So he said he'd like to thank the judge, and he knows that today is an emotional recount of the stories of the victims, and he doesn't know if it's going to add anything or decrease from the actual inquiry that's going to happen. But he says that he hopes that the people in charge and to actually take care of the situation and get justice, I think, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Can I just say, on behalf of myself, but I think on behalf, I hope, of everyone in the room, how grateful we are to you for coming here to talk about Mohammed in such a way, and how moving it's been and helpful as well. Thank you very much indeed.
بشكرك لأنك حكيت عن محمد اليوم وحضورك كثير مهم.
So I'm aware that any form of interpreting or communication assistance is absolutely exhausting for the person doing it. And I'm very grateful to Iman for all of her help.
Yes, we should thank our interpreter very much indeed for standing in perhaps rather at the last minute. Thank you very much.
So we have one more commemoration which is added to the list, which is Abu Bakr Ibrahim, who has a commemoration for Abu Fas Ibrahim, Fatia Ahmed and Isra Ibrahim from flat 206.
Yes.
If we could just have 2 minutes to organise that. Thank you very much.
Yes, of course. Yes, Mr. Richmond.
Sir, this is Abu Bakr Ibrahim. He has asked if he can also give a commemoration, which we're of course delighted to be able to accommodate, for his brother Abu Faras Ibrahim, his mother Fatia Ali Ahmed, and his sister Isra Ibrahim, who lived in flat 206. There is no statement, but he and I are, I hope, between the two of us, going to ensure that what he wants to say is on record. Is that right?
Thank you. Yes.
Good.
Yes.
So welcome.
Thank you.
So tell us, first of all, who your family comprised. I've mentioned your mum and
My
your sister,
mother.
and your sister and your brother.
Yes, correct.
And anybody else?
No, that's it. Oh, sorry. I have an older sister in Leicester, married to husband Khalid Hassan, and has 2 children, Yasin and Islam. And I have another brother in Holland named Gassim. So
These hearings are sometimes known, I think, as pen portraits, because what they try and do is capture something about the people that you're commemorating. And so I wonder, first of all, if you just tell us a little bit about your mum.
Well, my mother was headmistress of a primary school back in Sudan. She was married to a military officer, and we had a very lovely childhood, well looked after, well cared for. Enjoyed ourselves very much in a very loving, secured family. My father was killed back in the early 80s. Something that I don't wish to get into. Then after my mother decided, after a few years, to leave the country. We came to England. My mother, my brother Fras, and my sister Isra, and my eldest brother and sister, Iman and Gassim, went to Romania to study. We enjoyed our time in England. We loved it very much. We ended up living in Croydon. We went to school. We were really happy as a family, and my mother worked hard in a foreign land to keep us together.
What did she do?
She wasn't working due to the fact that when you come as an adult with children to a foreign country, it's a very difficult thing to cope with. So she wasn't working, but she tried her best to keep us looked after and secured. So it wasn't very easy as we were growing up. We kept moving house. Eventually, me and my brother ended up living together in Old Court, and my mother was living in Kensington in a private accommodation, and she was given flat 206 in Grenfell Tower in 2007, I believe.
When we're describing people that we love, our family, of course we have a view of them, but seeing through the eyes of their friends can sometimes give us a different picture. What would your mum's friends have said about her?
She was a very loving person, very caring, excellent communication skills, great sense of humor. Yeah.
And what about through the eyes of her son?
But she was my mother. Just simple things like going into the house as a grown man and you still see the Quality Street chocolate box in there.
And did you resist?
No, and we still fight over the best ones. And even comments as you come into the house and the kiss on the cheek and still talks to you about it's a bit cold. Why are you still, wearing a light jacket,
What will you miss most about her?
Her. Everything about her. You can't pick one thing. Her company. We can talk for hours. We were very tight. We understood each other. We all did. And what amazed me is she done things that I didn't know about that were very charitable. And she kept it to herself. And I've seen that love and compassion towards others in my sister line of work that she chose shortly before she died. My sister Isra was working as a volunteer in Notting Hill. When she would come and talk about her 90-year-old friend who suffers from health problems, and she has to feed them, and and her other friend who's 80-something, and she doesn't like anybody apart from her. And I often question her, why can't you find another job that is more, at least you get something out of it. But she enjoyed giving without taking anything back, because I think what she was taking is the ultimate prize that somebody can get, which is seeing the happiness from others. And
how old was Isra?
Isra was 33, I believe, yeah.
So was she bigger than you or littler?
I'm 40.
Oh, yeah, all right.
No, she was younger. She was our little sister, yeah.
So you were very protective?
Yeah, extremely. And it was a very happy environment in the house. We talked to each other for hours and hours.
What sort of things did Isra like?
She was very simple in her life. She talks about one of her friends, I believe her name is Chanel, and another friend, Lara. She talks about them. They go to a coffee shop where I think Lara's husband owns. I couldn't tell you they were into life that much. Even when I was speaking to her about getting a mortgage and she had no interest. Life was never that interesting to them.
Just a good soul.
Yeah.
What about Fraz?
Fraz was more of a hard man, more like my father. Very, very tough.
Soft centre?
Extremely. We spent the last 3 weeks living together.
Was he tidy?
Yeah, very tidy. I'm quite the opposite. But things Fras does, I'll give you an example. Christmas 2016. I wasn't living with Fras at the time. I was staying in my shop, trying to get it fixed. And I was sleeping there. And I spoke to Fras on the phone and he said, "You sound a bit..." I said, "Yeah, I've got a cold." He said, "Make sure you come to me now." Fras was living in a studio flat. I came in, I wasn't feeling too well, fell asleep. I woke up maybe 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning. I saw Fras sitting. By the window. And the minute I lifted my head, he turned around and said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm okay." He said, "Just go back to sleep." So he was just waiting to make sure that I fall asleep okay, that nothing happens, and I'm a grown man. I could look after myself. And afterwards, like I said, the last 3 weeks, we lived together. And it was actually fun living with him. He will still cook when I come back home. And he's around, he will make sure that I eat before I go to sleep.
So he cooked for you and tidied up after you?
I wouldn't go that far, but but he enjoyed cooking, so he will do that most of the time. And
was he the father figure after your dad passed on, or did you share it?
No, it was my older brother, Gassim, was the father figure. But Fras always, because I was the youngest, always thought I must follow his commands.
What did you do for a job?
I own a fishmonger in Islington.
What did Fras do?
Fras was meant to work with me, but it was after Ramadan because he was fasting, because we just opened the shop. Before that, I was doing security. And he came in, and because he was fasting, he would come in at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And he went and bought a new pair of shoes, just so he can use for work. And when I go into the shop, the shoe's still there. I have no choice. But I find myself grabbing his shoes, hugging it and kissing it for ages. And I close and I go home because you just can't. And the trouble is, you can sit and pretend it's okay. But the minute you close that door and you're by yourself, it's horrible.
If he was here now and was describing himself, what would he say was his most attractive feature?
Brave man. And I've seen it on many occasions. A very brave man. Because that night he could have walked out. He had his chance. But he closed that door. I've seen a video circulating. A friend of mine showed me on the same night on the 14th. because I still had hopes, and I was running from hospital to hospital trying to find them. And when I saw the video, and I've seen him closing that door, I knew he closed life away, and he was facing death, imminent death, and he knew that, but he chose to do so. So I couldn't think of anything more to describe him as a...
So your mum was full of love, your sister full of goodness, and he was full of courage.
100%. 100%.
And can I say, you've honoured them, may I say so, very well.
Thank you.
This afternoon. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
I miss them. It's like having a clear vision of where we're going as a family. And now we don't, it's just pure darkness. And I just hope that where their souls are, they're resting in peace.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was going to say thank you so much for coming to talk about your family. I found it very moving, and we're grateful to have heard about them. Thank you.
So that concludes our commemorations for today. May I remind you of my request that we start at 9:45 tomorrow?
Yes, well, we'll stop now then and sit again at 9:45 tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.